Hi everybody, welcome to the second episode of All Talk Scottish Premiership. Thank you for the support for the first episode, and a massive shout out to our sponsors at VSN. It's been a great sort of feedback that I've had. You can catch the show on YouTube, on Pyramid Promotions, and also on Spotify. And believe it or not, our first listener on Spotify was actually from New Zealand, so went worldwide. The second episode, we're going to be talking about just briefly on the Scottish Cup games and then the draw, and then we're going to get into the Old Firm that will be happening on Sunday. We also on Sunday have a Dundee derby, and we have some fixtures to play out on Saturday as well. But this episode, I'm not myself. I'm actually joined by Brooklyn Bone, a good friend of mine. How are you?
I'm not bad, mate. Thank you, yourself.
I'm good. Thanks. How are you feeling? Been on?
Did you know? Slightly nervous. First time, but it's something I've been wanting to try for a while. And obviously, when you kind of reached out, it was one of those things that you've just kind of got to jump at.
Aye, good. Well, I hope you enjoy it, and you'll get a few more extra followers on Instagram anyway. That's for sure, mate. Don't worry. So over the weekend there was just the Scottish Cup fixtures. So we had Hearts v Dundee, which was 3-1, Aberdeen v Queen's Park, which was 4-1, Celtic beat Hibs 2-0, and Livy lost 1-0 at home to St Johnstone. And then the draw came out last night, and it's Aberdeen versus Hearts in the semi-final, and Celtic versus St Johnstone. How do you think they will pan out?
I think for other than obviously the Rangers game in the last round where Rangers get knocked out, it's pretty much been as you'd expect for start the Scottish Cup. I think it's basically going to play out the same. I can only really see a Hearts Celtic final. I don't.
Oh, really?
Do you know what? Are you thinking maybe it's Aberdeen are gonna?
Aberdeen St Johnstone. No, I'm kidding on. That's because the first episode. So I'm going to do a thing where I do a bold prediction. So I'll ask you your bold prediction for the Old Firm. So I said Dundee and St Johnstone are bottom of the table, that's second and bottom. So I said I believe one of them two will get to the final. But now St Johnstone's got Celtic, that shout's gone. I mean, you never know, but I think Aberdeen will get there. I don't know why. I know Hearts are a good side, but I can just see it being like an Aberdeen Celtic final because they've kind of been up and down all season, but I think they deserve to get to a final with the season they've had.
See, I think it's that whole idea of obviously the managers came in, they were 12, 13 games at the start of the season unbeaten. I seen a stat that Celtic have only conceded three goals at home all season, 2 of them to Aberdeen. So Aberdeen's season it's really been up and down, but I think Hearts, again, it's kind of like a tale of two sides, where Aberdeen started very, very well at the start of the season, Hearts started very poorly, and we think maybe before Christmas it's flipped completely. Hearts have kind of found a wee bit of form. Shankland looks kind of not back to his best. He's not scoring as much, but we're playing that deeper role.
Right.
He's a facilitator, and I think they'll have too much for Aberdeen. It's not really a bold prediction, but I think that game will go to extra time. I think
that's a shout. Obviously, I don't want to disregard St Johnstone, but if you need to be realistic, I actually used that phrase in the first episode. You want to be optimistic, but you need to be realistic. So let's just say Celtic gets through. Who do you think Celtic would rather face?
I think, to be honest, with how Celtic are playing under Rodgers, I don't think you fear anyone. You've seen that in Europe as well, even going to the Allianz. There's absolutely no fear in that Celtic team whatsoever. I don't think you've actually got any sort of concerns, which, as a Rangers fan, it's horrible to say, but I think
I agree.
On the scale of the games, I think Celtic would actually fear Hearts more. Aberdeen obviously gave them, let's say, they drew with them, but when Celtic have had to perform against Aberdeen, they have.
Right.
That in the League Cup as well, so I think Celtic won't fear anyone, and it's, to be honest, a foregone conclusion as far as the winners of the Cup itself.
I think one of the ones, see, as a Celtic fan, I think most Celtic fans maybe, I don't know, I feel like I know it's going to be at Hampden obviously, but I think they fear a Hearts more than an Aberdeen. I think Hearts for the past couple of years has given them harder games. And then obviously that semi-final where it was 6-0, it was like, that was like the opposite of Celtic playing in Dortmund. See it in Dortmund hit, it was just going in the back of the net. So I think, like, see Celtic that day, they never even played that great, but anytime they had a shot, it just went in. But I think, I do think Hearts would give them a tougher game. I do honestly believe that. But you never know. Celtic, there could be an upset. It is just very unlikely, but it's one of the ones. See last year, and we'll get onto the Old Firm in a bit, but see the Scottish Cup final last year, Celtic were obviously in really good form, and people probably put Celtic winning that 2-3-0. Even though it's a cup final, you still would back your team to win that. I think the same could happen. I think even if Celtic got a St Johnstone in the final, I don't think it would be like a 3-4-0. I think it would be like a close 1-0 or a 2-1. I just think it's very rare you get a final that's an absolute doom.
And do you know, it's strange that you're saying that, because now that I think about it, I agree in the sense that I think Celtic could drop St Johnstone the 3-4-0 scoreline that we just said in the semi-final. But I was in the final, I think you would be looking at a closer game, because just naturally players up their game. I know a semi-final is still massive, obviously, but I think the final always just gives you that little kind of extra boost and extra edge. But I watched kind of the tail end of the second half of the St Johnstone Livy game last night, and it wasn't a great game at all. I think Livy dominated the first half. St Johnstone came out second half. The pitch, obviously, the AstroTurf isn't ideal, and it took, I don't know if you've seen the goal. I don't. If you're taking a goal like that, or it's 30 odd yards to break the deadlock against Livingston, who are in the Championship, and they are flying, but if you're needing a goal for 35 yards to beat Livy, are you really going to go to Hampden, bigger pitch, better surface, and play Park or create chances? I don't see it.
Yeah, it's notorious in finals, but that they're close. Like, obviously Celtic under Rodgers, for example, in the Invincible season, they were literally invincible, but it took a last minute goal to beat Aberdeen in the final then. And then a couple of years back, when it was Ange Postecoglou's treble side, which was somewhat maybe even better than the Celtic Invincible team, it took them sort of late goals in the game to like kill off Inverness, who were in the Championship. Now obviously Inverness are in League One and in administration, but even a Celtic as high flying as that took a couple of late goals to kind of put them to bed. But it will be interesting. Some other news, actually, St Johnstone is actually giving Celtic fans free stands for the game in a couple of weeks because they're expected to win the title that day. So that's nice of them. That's nice of them.
It's one of those ones you want to call it tin pot, but the amount of money they make off of that, it's smart for their end, to be honest. But
I know, and they're possibly going to get relegated, so they're probably going to take as much money as they could get before they go down. So it's not a bad idea.
They are 5 points adrift of Dundee, and then even if you finish second bottom, do you really see a St Johnstone beating one of the sides in the Championship in the playoff? Again, you're questioning that.
I think that whoever is in the playoff for the Championships, I think they'll generally come up this year. Past couple of years they've not really, but I think they will come up, whether it's an Ayr or a Falkirk or a Livy. Whoever doesn't win the league, I think one of them will come up.
It's one of those ones, but where that full pyramid is just catered towards the Premiership side, because the Premiership side obviously just kind of lays in wait, whereas the Championship sides need to do a couple of games prior, and that's it. Playing a full season, you've pushed your way all the way to get to the playoffs, and then you end up in that situation where you've got to play one or two knockouts before getting the Premiership side. I think even though the Championship side seem better on the ball this year, I still think it's asking a lot to actually go and win 2-3 knockout games, sort of thing.
There's arguments for both sides, because obviously the players might get tired playing the games, but whoever comes second bottom, I think it works out, they actually don't play a game of football for about a month maybe, which is just as hard really. Like, see, a lot of the times with European qualifiers, see if you actually find the teams that have only maybe played pre-season friendlies against teams who are already maybe halfway through their season, like for example the teams in Ireland and stuff. The teams that are already halfway through their season are doing better. I know it's only a month and they'll still be fit, but there is arguments for both sides. But I do think it does favour the Premiership side. So it'll be interesting to see who do you think will go down St Johnstone and Dundee?
Aye, I think Kilmarnock under McInnes, they'll have enough to stay up. They've
I actually shouted for him to be the next Rangers manager.
Do you know, mate? See, it's that way, but I think trying to predict the next Rangers managers near impossible. Even a couple of months ago, because obviously the rumours are again Gerrard coming back.
Would you take him back?
Do you know, I think I would, mate, to be honest.
Really?
Aye, but you know, it's just because his recruitment seemed good as well. You think of some of the players we brought in during that time, like Glenn Kamara, Joe Aribo, even Ryan Kent. A lot of those players have came out since and said that they came to us because of Gerrard.
Yeah.
He installed that sense that maybe it was just right place, right time. Because obviously he came in, we hadn't won at Parkhead in I can't remember how many years. Obviously you were going for 10, so maybe it was just right place, right time, and he could come back in and it's not going to work. But right now, there's no one that jumps out at me that's really telling me that's the Rangers manager. But I think you've also got to wait until this takeover happens as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's also as well people say Gerrard maybe gets saved from COVID, but I know Rangers fans and they don't care because all they did was stop the 10 in a row. But was it not before COVID as well? Rangers lost at home to Hamilton, and then at that point they were also 13 points behind. But I'm sure the next game was a Celtic Rangers game at Ibrox possibly, but COVID possibly did save him at that time. But then the way he's performed in the COVID season, I don't really put that. I don't know if I put that down to the COVID season.
I don't know if I'm getting mixed up, right? Because we've had that many half-season manager bounces, mate, to be honest. But I think when Gerrard left, I think we were actually 7 points clear. I'm certain that it was Angie's first season, maybe second. We were 7 points clear just after the winter break. And I think it was, am I right in saying that when Gerrard left, I think Gio came in, and that's when the league just went. We did, I think it was Gio that we lost to Hamilton, and I think that's when we lost the season by about 13 points. And again, that was a whole argument of the style of play and is this the kind of Rangers philosophy, blah blah blah. And that's the problem as well, is you're bringing in all these managers halfway through the season that are then saying, look, wait until I get my own players. They get their own players. They have a 6 month spell that's the exact same as the last manager, and a bunch of good that no one wants.
I think if the takeover happens, I think I mean, I know I said it last week, or I said it to someone, but I think if the takeover happens, I reckon I could see the Gary O'Neill who was in charge of Bournemouth and then he went to Wolves. I think you would get somebody like him, and I don't know why. I seen him on the list, but I was listening to somebody say apparently Sean Dyche came out and said there was a point he was close to managing Rangers and he would love to. But I hate when people say that because, I get it. So say, for example, right, at Everton, I know he's not the Everton manager, but say he was on, right, $100,000 a week. See if Rangers went, right, we're only going to give you 50. I guarantee you wouldn't love to manage them then.
Oh, that's it. It's how many times as a Rangers and Celtic fan have we heard players or managers come out in the media and say, I wish I would end my career there, or I wish I played there, or I wish I managed there. I remember there was one a couple of years ago that it was like Ibrahimovic made a passing comment about Celtic, and every Celtic fan on social media adamant that before he was going to retire, he was going to come to Celtic.
Well, Jose Mourinho said he would like to manage Celtic Rangers. Jinky, would you take him?
Aye. I think, to be honest, right, there's Mourinho's style and Mourinho himself, he's been in the game for that Porto team was 2004 or something, so 20 odd. But you'd be ridiculous to say you wouldn't take Mourinho.
Do you think Celtic would take him over Brendan Rodgers?
Do you? I'll ask you. You don't?
No way.
Is that again, but because of the whole argument of style of play, or do you just think that?
No, see, genuinely, right, and say he needs to sign a new contract now, right? By the way, just quickly, so who do you think will get relegated? We moved on for that. St Johnstone Dundee.
Aye.
Right. We're on to the Old Firm now, but basically, so say Rodgers stays and Celtic do win the 10 in a row, or say we maybe fall out in the Europa League and he gets Celtic a Europa League trophy. I genuinely don't think he would be far off getting a statue in later years, getting about at Celtic Park. See if he never left and he did get Celtic 10, I don't believe it would have stopped at 10. I think it would have went 11. It would have just kept going. but I just think, I honestly think, see if Rodgers left in the next 2 years and say Mourinho was still managing, I think there's better at that point in time. There'll be better managers there than Mourinho.
Right, but that's a lot of that's hypotheticals in the sense that if Rodgers...
Yeah, as of right now in life, do you think the Bournemouth manager's a better manager than Mourinho?
Aye,
Right,
but
so, that's, I mean,
I think his name is something. Aye, but again, that's because maybe, again, he's came up with that idea. I keep saying it as if I'm fucking one of these like football hipsters, but that style of play, like, he's came into Bournemouth, obviously. I don't think any single person who's watched Scottish football, whether that be the national team or the league, would have expected Ryan Christie to become a holding midfielder and be pretty incredible at it.
Aye, Christie's good. He is good.
He's came in, the new Bournemouth manager came in, he's noticed that, he said to Christie, look, I want you to play a little bit deeper and allow just basically to drop the ball into the wingers. They've got the Brazilian striker, that Evan Nielsen. I don't know how we've transitioned into Bournemouth, right? But
we'll stop talking about Bournemouth soon, man.
but I basically, they've got the striker who's been injured for quite a lot of the season. He scored 1 or 2 against Spurs at the weekend there, but they're playing the way they are without a striker, without a kind of wreck out and out. So obviously you've got Marcus Tavernier on the wing, you've got I think it's Semenyo as well. So they've got good attacking talent. You look at that Fenerbahce side, you look at the game, the way that Rangers played, it's that way where after the game, they asked Mourinho, did you underestimate Rangers? He said he didn't, but he thinks the players did. And if you watch any of the highlights back, it's the story of when Rangers play in Europe, we are such a good counter-attacking side. Whether that be under Gerrard, under Gio, somehow under Beale at one point or another against Real Betis, I remember, at home. But the Fenerbahce players just looked as if they couldn't be bothered. Like, we were going, and they were 5-10 yards off us. They brought on St Max, and then the game kind of flipped. They started to press us back. But I think to say you wouldn't take Mourinho in the Scottish games mental.
I know it's hard to maybe try and remember all the teams, right? But if Rangers go through, I think they'll get either Bilbao or Roma, right? I don't know who it would be after that. But do you know
Man United last side they draw? So
is it
United got Sociedad now, and then I don't know.
Do you think the competition this year is weaker than when you actually got there?
See, I've been seeing this argument, and
I think it is 100. I think it 100% is.
Nah, right?
Really,
Dortmund,
and then Leipzig were flying.
That Dortmund side, on paper, wasn't that good. Like Mats Hummels, obviously World Cup winner, but it was 36 or something. Jude Bellingham, incredible. He was 18, 19 at the time. They didn't have that many.
I know.
You look at, obviously, at the time, Barcelona were in that, because it was Barca who were flying at the time. Frankfurt knocked them out. West Ham, who were flying, they get knocked out. I think then you compare the likes, I say, Frankfurt, Barca, Dortmund, compare that to a Man United, a Tottenham, and a Roma with the likes of Paulo Dybala. I think is on par. Yeah. I think it's.
Yeah, I actually think Bilbao will go through, but I think that would be a worse game for Rangers.
What do you think?
I think if you've got Bilbao, you would go out. I think if you've got Roma, you would go through.
I think the opposite, mate. I think we would.
That's what I like. Yeah, I love that.
Do you know what? Rangers fan, I would rather play Bilbao.
Really?
I confused myself.
Yeah, they could win it. Do you genuinely think they could win it?
I think why not? Like, I think when obviously we got to the final, you looked at, as I say, like Dortmund's, Leipzig's. You looked at the time that Barca could be potential in the final. I think up until the final, I didn't believe we were going to win it, and then actually, they'd knocked out the big teams, like you're saying earlier on. It could happen in the final. I had a lot of faith that we were going to go and do it, especially when we went 1-0 up. Obviously, don't prefer not to talk about it. Never watched the highlights back since. But I think especially if Rangers can get.
So say Rangers go out, but who do you think would win it with Rangers being out?
I think
I think Spurs.
I think it's going to be a United Spurs final. I think although United have been miles off it this year and so have Spurs, I think they've still got enough over two legs to beat or Bilbao. United are drawn one each with Sociedad. Sociedad got a penalty that was never a penalty. It's a handball, one of those ones where it's a yard away from his face. I mean, what is he meant to do? I think it's probably going to be an all-English final.
Well, you never know that Mourinho could come and put on a masterclass, but so we'll go on to the Old Firm now, but see just quickly regarding Thursday and Sunday, do you think Rangers play a weekend side on Thursday for the game on Sunday?
No, I think we are 16 points behind in the league now. I think if you were going to prioritise an Old Firm, that means nothing, to be honest. Like, you get bragged.
A lot of Rangers fans would agree with that, although do you not think Rangers fans, look, I don't know if it's, well, I'll get my bold prediction out early, right? I don't want to just pick a team to win, right? But as I said, we want to be realistic. Realistically, on paper, Celtic are winning. I think the game will be won by more than 4 goals. That's my bold prediction. So whether it's like 4-0 or 5-1 or 6-2, I think the game will be won by more than 4 goals.
Mate, that's mental. That's a criminal shout.
See, if I said something even like a Maeda hat trick, I don't even think that's a bold shout anymore. I honestly don't believe that's a bold shout.
Do you know, right? I don't understand this whole thing about Maeda, right? And this is going to be
crazy, mate.
That's what my bold take, right? But in the last season, he's came on leaps and bounds as far as his actual technical ability goes, especially since he's went through the middle. See, up until this season, he is your fashion Sakala.
I don't know, but
right, think about it. Up until the start of this season, as a Celtic fan, and you've obviously sat around, like, you go to the games, you sit in the pubs, whatever, you can't tell me that over the last couple of seasons, when Maeda gets the ball and he takes a heavy touch, or he miscontrols the ball, when you're watching that ball get switched over to Maeda, you're sitting, up until this season, sitting with that in the back of your mind going, he's going to misjudge this.
I don't know, I know he would do it, right? But see, at the same time, see if he done that 1 or 2 times, he would then do like 4 or 5 good. Like Maeda, what Maeda gives you off the ball, Sakala never.
But again, right?
For example, that goal at Ibrox last year, and what was that, like the 28th second or something?
Aye, but that's because I've just shits himself and he says, "My that's the problem."
I do get that argument, but I think even if, I mean, I think they came in at similar times. I reckon if you were to compare their goals and assists, and I know it's not about stats, but sometimes football's made out to be like that. If you were to compare their goals and assists, they're probably quite close. Maeda possibly a bit better.
I think this season Maeda's shot ahead. I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but I think in all comps he's got maybe 20 odd goals, maybe more.
He's on 20, for that goal on Saturday puts him to 27, which if Kyogo got, you would be worried for him leaving for 20 million in the summer.
But see, the thing is, again, obviously it's different because Maeda terrorises Tav, right? He has at all times, but I've always been more scared as a Rangers fan when Kyogo's played, because he's moving off the ball and he doesn't even need a chance, and he's at half a chance. And he's going to do something. You seen the...
Would you be happy with Maeda through the middle on Sunday, so he's away from Tavernier?
I think you should do that.
Would you rather that? I know Tav sometimes been in centre back, but say for example Tavernier is at right back. Would you rather him a Jota against him or Maeda?
I think I would rather Maeda out in the wing, and that's only because I'd rather Adamida starts than doing a Jota-Maeda combination. If you have Kun, Jota and Maeda through the middle, that's terrifying. I don't really rate Adamida. So I think if you're doing Maeda, Kun and Adamida, I'm more confident with that. So I'd prefer Maeda out the left just for the sheer fact it would be...
that's why it was a bold prediction, because see, honestly, Rangers could be in 5th place and Celtic could be in 1st or vice versa. But I feel like, I know a couple of years ago you had Rodgers winning 5-0 and stuff, and the COVID season Rangers won like 4-0 and they had big results, but I don't know, I just feel that whenever you go into a derby game where, like, even when Rangers were doing well, if Rangers fans went into this game going, oh, we're going to win 3-4-0, it would end up like 2-1 to the opposite team. Now, I'm not saying I think Rangers will go and win. I think that is the one thing that I'm like, if Rangers win, that's insane. I just don't see it. But I just think it will be. My honest thing is, I do think it will be a closer game than everybody expected. But that's why.
You just said it's going to be 4 and 5.
No, that's my bold shout. But my bold shout is, I think I know it sounds stupid, but I don't think Rangers win it. I think it will either be a close Celtic 2-1, or if I'm going bold, it's like it'll just be a whitewash. But I don't know. I feel that Rangers will score. I don't know why, but who scores that goal? I don't know.
My thinking it's a lot less bold. It's just something simple. I think both teams will score. Both the Old Firms this season, as far as the league, it's been 3-0s. 3-0 at Parkhead, 3-0 at Ibrox.
And then 3 each in the final, so there's been a lot of goals.
I think both teams. I think, do you know what? I've always stood by Dessers. I think.
Mate, I said it on the show last week. I like Dessers. I like him. He's a good striker.
I think Dessers brings a lot. Again, it's like you're talking about with energy. You can always see him trying, and I know the best technically. But again, he scored 20 goals.
I think what makes up for Dessers, but is like I said last week, say he misses 2 chances and then he scores 2. People will go, aye, well done, but you actually should have scored the 2 goals about 20 minutes ago. Like, you've put us under pressure. And then also there was that Celtic Rangers game. It was the one last year. I think Matt O'Reilly scored and John Lundstrom scored an own goal. Remember at one point Dessers was through on goal and he just kept running and running and running. I think that made Rangers fans go, what are you actually up to? Like, what are you doing?
But see, the thing is as well, right? And I don't know. I mean, it's not. I'm talking as if we are old, right? We're not. But I remember us growing up, and unless in this, right? People used to say that the sign of a good striker was getting those chances in the first place. So if you're saying that Dessers, I understand that Rangers and Celtic dominate domestically, right? You imagine, you always expect them to go out and beat the 10 other teams, the 11 other teams. Mm-hmm. But with Dessers, he's 5 chances, his movement's good. There is ones where you look at him and you're going, how have you not scored that? But
Old Trafford, like, if like a Messi or somebody scored that, that's everywhere.
Aye.
Like, his goal at Old Trafford was incredible.
It's the same with the asking pass. Like, we're still at a day and age where Scottish football, although you're seeing the likes of Tierney going for 25, Bassey went for 20 odd, Matt O'Reilly for 25, it's still not getting the respect that it deserves. I mean, you know for a fact, right, is like you're saying, it's Old Firm week. You know when you open your Twitter on a Thursday this week, it's just going to be, no, it's just going to be English people being like, oh, another Old Firm, 408th Old Firm and blah, blah, blah. And they don't understand that there can genuinely be an Old Firm once a month. Like, we've seen it last year, I think there was 2 Old Firms in a month. You still get that same feeling. Doesn't matter if you're 3 years.
Just quickly, because you were talking about Dessers there, I've put you under pressure here. But see if we were to do a quick mixed starting 11. So who would be the goalkeeper?
Schmeichel. Last season, Butland would have without hesitation, but now that he's tried attempted murder, I think he should probably
right. Do you think the whole defence is Celtic?
Do you know, right, I'm Tav's biggest defender and I'm going to stick by this.
Well, you're a better defender than Tavernier as a defender, I'll tell you that. So he's not getting in that team, no chance.
Tav is, and again, if you are talking about, right, so Brendan Rodgers is the manager, right? Barry Ferguson can near that touch.
Rodgers. Gavin Stratton possibly with a laptop, he can be there or no.
Tav would do a better job than Johnson. Because you just attack, you just go forward. Tav wouldn't have to defend. With his attack output, he would give you more than what Johnson would on that side.
That's potentially the case. That might be your bullshit. I'm not down as your bullshit.
I do not think. How often does Alistair Johnson have to defend?
So you honestly believe if we put Tavernier in over, so if you swap Tavernier and Johnson, you think Tavernier would do better in the Celtic squad? That you honestly believe? Really? This is getting clipped, mate. That's crazy. Johnson's been one of the Celtic's best players. Like, potentially, if he stays future captain.
Right, I don't watch Celtic games. Right, I don't sit down and watch this because I'm not deluded. But I think if I'm not deluded, and then you're saying this is a insane take, right? So there's every chance. But I think with Tav's output, you're looking at 20 goals and assists for the best part of 8 to 10 years. and that's an aside that you've watched. We've had like Joey Garner up front, Joe Dodo at one point, Jason Holt playing midfield. Like the team around them has been shocking. Johnson's been with you for a couple of seasons now. You have dominated domestically.
I would start Anthony Ralston over James Tavernier.
That is.
I'm kidding on. I'm kidding on. That yeah, I think Ralston's come onto a game for Celtic, but if we're talking who would start there, so we would go Jeffrey Schlupp, Trusty, Vickers, and you would put Tavernier in there.
I would also put Suter over Trusty.
I would put Scales over Suter.
Mate, what? Nah, yeah.
No, right, fine. We'll go 2 for 2 then. So Celtic get the left back and right centre back, and Rangers get the left centre back and right back. So midfield, McGregor.
By the way, he's a Celtic fan, right? Because again, I've not watched a lot of games. Has Greg Taylor been that bad? Because all I've seen is.
No, I just think, like I said in the last show as well, I do think Taylor will be one of the players where I think Celtic fans in 5 years' time would look back and go, he was actually good for us. I think he'll be one of the players, but I just think this year, I'm basing it off this year, like when Jeffrey Schlupp only came in January, you already see a difference in class, and that is Premier League class. Like he's actually, like he's so good and he's so calm on the ball. I just think I would honestly put him in already and like a mixed starting 11, like genuinely. I liked Greg Taylor. I genuinely liked him, but I just think this year I think because he knew he was going elsewhere as well, that's not helped him.
Do you think we're in a day and age where Celtic fans have got a lot of resentment towards him because they know his family are all Rangers fans with Taylor? Do you think that's the thing?
I don't believe that, because he scored in a Celtic Rangers game and he celebrated.
Is that not the cup final?
Semi-final. It was a semi-final, aye. But I don't believe that. I just think people are quite honest. Like, I mean, Kasper Schmeichel said on the Stick to Football, like, with Celtic, you don't just need to win, it needs to be perfect. And I do honestly, I don't know, I would put Schlupp in. And then is it a Celtic midfield again? Or are you putting a...
Well, what formation? 4-3-3?
4-3-3, and then I would say McGregor, Engels.
Engels is, mate, for, again, it's maybe hard to hold the price out, but for
McGregor, Engels and Hadji.
Nah. I think for me, it's got to be McGregor, Hatate, and then probably Diamande just in front of them.
Right, so we're getting bookings in this team then. That's what it is.
Booking points, mate, every single European.
I don't know. I do like Hatate, but he is. Do you know? He's like remember always people said about Ncham, like on his day he was a good player. Hatate is slowly, and even like Samaras would be. The games would pass him by, but then he would do something just mental, and people would go like, "Oh my god!" I think Hatate's fallen into that category now. I think he's just like that game at Ibrox. That game passed him by. Like genuinely, you could have took him off the park, and it wouldn't have made a difference.
I think the thing is that when you play well, it's because Hatate's playing well. So I think the old fan, I always go back to the 3-0, see the midweek one.
Aye, but he scored 2 goals.
Aye. He started that game when the first 2 or 3 minutes he was controlling it and we could not get near him. That also killed poor wee Amad Diallo at Rangers. We just brought him, he was 18 and we threw him into Parkhead on a Wednesday night.
See, that thing as well, see just simple stuff like that, like even though they're footballers, like they are human beings. Like, see, honestly, sometimes when you actually like even look at the players' faces before it and it's maybe their first game, and then they come out after it and they go like, I guarantee you any money, see when Jeffrey Schlupp goes back down to England or he just doesn't come back to Celtic, he'll say, I did not know it was like this up here. Like, they don't realise that it's not like naive, but I think people just don't expect it to be like that. But you could see it that night when Diallo was walking out, you could actually see him kind of looking, going like, what is going on here? And it'll be good also as well with both sets of fans being back in. I know it's a little amount, but it'll be good. It will be good.
To be fair, what is it, about 7,000, 7,500? I think it's the same as what Hibs got.
No, I don't even think it's that many. It's a small portion. I think it's maybe 3,000, but at least it's better than 0.
It's like you're saying, it's the first time that we've had fans in a couple of seasons, and it's a step in the right direction. I don't know. One of the biggest things about the Old Firm is the kind of fan culture that surrounds it. It's been absolutely the last few years, and it's that way where it sounds ridiculous, but we won obviously 3-0 the last Old Firm in the league. Full bouncing, but there's always that wee added bit, a wee added needle when there is away fans, whether it be for Celtic, European games, whatever it may be. So, it's going to be good to actually have.
It's so weird when you're in the stadium and like you just, even when you watch games on TV where there's no away fans and you just don't hear anything when a team's like, it is like COVID, but like it is like that. But I'll happily go Diamande, Hatate, McGregor, and then I'll actually say my front three, and then you can see if you're going to agree with me.
Right.
So I've bigged him up, so I need to stick with it. So I would go Maeda on the left, I would go Kuhn on the right, and I would put Dessers up front.
I can't argue it. I can't, like...
What's happened to Iggerman?
See, I was going to say, I think the argument for a lot of people would maybe say Czerny comes in, but then I think if it's so hard for Czerny to displace Kuhn or Maeda on the seasons that they've had.
I think Iggerman's better than either.
Aye.
Really?
Aye, I think... What is... Ida's still quite young, right? Isn't it about 23, 24?
He's still young, but see, even this year, like, obviously, Ida came in last year, and you could say he did sort of save Celtic season. Like, you had that... They goals at Hibs, the goals away to Motherwell, the cup final goal. But the argument is he £9 million? But Norwich knew Celtic were going to go for him. Norwich could have probably actually went, we want 11 million. But the Celtic board knew if they never brought him in, there would have been outrage. But I do think he's better than Iggerman, just for the simple fact, I feel like I only heard Iggerman's name for maybe like 5 or 6 games. But before or after, I've not heard much of him. But he does done it in the league, the Scottish Cup. He's done it in the Champions League as well. Not that goal against Young Boys. I know that was given as an own goal, but he scored against Bratislava. Like he scored in the Champions League. So, and I think he's an all-round better player. I think he's powerful and he holds the ball up well.
Iggerman's not even getting played necessarily in his best position. Iggerman's getting played in Europe. Was out on the left for a while. At point throughout the league, he's getting played behind Dessers. He's getting hooked at maybe kind of 60 odd minutes as well. So he's not playing full 90s. He's only 21, and I think we actually signed him. I don't think we signed him from a top league, like as in a top flight. I think it was like the second tier in Morocco or something along those lines. It was quite a niche one because I seen it was Rangers sent scouts to watch whoever it was. They had no intention of watching Iggerman whatsoever, and it just impressed that much that that's when they decided, right, we've got to get this boy in. I think when you watch him, his touches, I think the only problem now is he's lacking confidence. With such a young player like we spoke about with like Diallo and stuff, he's came in, and it's that way where Rangers were so bad. There's the same argument like Barron. We were so bad that just any shining light was going to stand out in that team. So Iggerman's been chopping at the bit. Everyone was on Dessler's back. Danilo is made of chocolate. Like, he may as well not be at the club. So when Iggerman came in, it was a breath of fresh air. He was skillful. He was taking people on. He was shooting for anywhere. And when he first came in, everything was coming off for him. He's now doing that thing where he's maybe just slowing down and going back to just a standard level in the sense of not every shot he's hitting is going in. Not every touch is coming off. He's not getting all these wee nutmegs here, there, and everywhere. And I think that's the thing. He's set himself such a high bar that now that he's actually playing at a decent level, he's getting loads of abuse. And then what happened was McCoy's on commentary a couple of weeks ago basically said that Iggerman had been hopeless in whatever game it was. I think it was one of the European games. And it massively divided the fan base. In the minute a fan base is divided in that player, it's so hard to get everyone back. So, for example, right, if Iggerman starts on Sunday, there's going to be a mixture on, again, Twitter or social media with people saying, good call, or why is Hadji, or why is Bajrami, or whoever not starting. If Iggerman scores, no one cares. And he's a cult hero again for a month, 2 months to the end of the season. But I think if you persevere with him, he's got more technical ability than Adam Ida, like, by far.
See, I actually people don't, I think, respect that enough about Big Ed. I think he's great, get great technical ability. I think he's so powerful that I think on the ball as well, he's got quick feet, and he is a good finisher. But it is an argument to be had that if people obviously in the comments for that want to have their say on it, but I think it is an argument. But I would say Ida, like, and I'm not just saying that because, like, obviously I say Big Desser's a good striker, but I honestly would, if I was to like pick somebody in a team, I would pick Ida over Igaman, definitely.
If, right, obviously, somehow you are Celtic chairman, how much would you have paid for Adam Ida based on last season, including the cup final goal? I'd say you'd be lucky. I'd be hard pushed going more than £4.5 million. I'd say half.
I would probably say Adam Ida is a £6 million player at the minute, but he could become more.
He is young, he's got that on his side, but he wasn't even starting. Like, that's the problem. He wasn't starting at Norwich. He didn't have much experience. And
I wonder if Celtic would have signed him even if he didn't score the goal in the final. I think they probably still would have signed him, but I think that goal put his price tag. I think that goal did just put his price tag up about £4 million. I think it did. I honestly think it did.
Right, so here's part you're wanting kind of controversial takes, whatever else. Obviously, this is going to sound mental off the start, but you have to come out on this, right? Although Celtic have dominated domestically, I don't think your recruitment's been that good.
Really?
So Ange brought in, right? So when Ange brought in like Maeda, Hatate, Kyogo, Vickers, there's been some incredible signings in there. But
right.
I think Vickers, you've got on loan, signed them for £6-7 million. That's an incredible fee. You could easily double that if you sold him, if he could stay fit. But we're talking about 11 million for Arnie Engels. You're talking 9 million for Adam Ida. If you're going back a couple of years,
Do you not think Arnie Engels is a good player?
I think he's a good player. I don't think he's 11 million. I think if you're, although said,
I think he is.
nah.
But what about the recruitment side of things where they let Tierney go for 25 million and bring him back for free, and they let Jota go for 20 odd million and bring him back, or 30 odd million and bring him back for 10?
But that just shows
Logo a striker who's 30. No, not he's nearly 30 at 10 million.
But when you look at Jota, that's essentially an enigma, because I think when he left Scottish football, everyone thought he was going to be incredible. The problem is I think if he went to another European league that suited his style, he wouldn't have came back to Celtic. What he done was he went to Saudi, essentially took a 2-3 year hiatus. Obviously, he went to Rennes as well, and then he couldn't get a look in there. So maybe he's just one of these players that's just comfortable in the sense of he knows Celtic, he knows the club, and it was only really the option to come back.
So see, just quick, briefly in my head, players I can remember we've brought in this year. See if you were to rate that out of 10. So out of 10, what would you rate the Bernardo getting brought back?
For how much? For 7?
I think he was about 6, and it was he's young, Portuguese midfielder.
He's young.
Well.
You're hard pushed to give him any more than a 5 because he doesn't start, he doesn't play.
He's out injured now, to be fair.
But so, how often your rotation, like as a Celtic fan, usually you're starting midfield 2, you're going McGregor, Hatate, and then you can rotate between McCowan, Engels.
Well, can I actually say something? See the game where Engels made his debut against Rangers and Bernardo started. I thought Bernardo was man of the match that day, and I don't think he deserved to get dropped the following week, and he did.
But this is a problem again. So then, if you're looking at, you've paid 6-7 million for Bernardo, you paid 11 million for Engels. To me, they do the same role, and I do think Bernardo's a better player than Engels at this point in time.
What?
At this point in time, I
think Bernardo's a better player than Engels.
Aye,
and he's injured.
No, well, it doesn't matter. He can't help that does not affect his footballing ability in the sense of if he was fully fit. That's
right. Kasper Schmeichel at a 10.
If you were going off that argument, that would be like if Vickers was injured and said, "Oh, we're on better."
I like Bernardo. I do like Bernardo, but I think when you watch Engels, you realise there's a difference there.
Right.
But well, you've said some. Brooklyn, I want to get you back on for some controversial takes, but quickly then, Kasper Schmeichel.
10. Free.
10, right. Adam Ida.
6.
Engels. I wonder what Engels is going to be.
A 5, 6. You paid too much money for him. You paid.
5 or 6, but Bernardo's a 5, and you think he's better than him.
Aye, but Bernardo's injured.
Who else? Right, so Schlupp.
He came in January, but didn't he?
Yeah.
Early to say, but 7, 8. You got him for. I think he's got a contract as well. So if this persuades him to sign for you in the summer, you're looking at maybe a 10.
Luke McCowan.
Free contract.
£1 million.
Aye, I'd say that's a 7. A 7. Young, homegrown talent.
Jota.
What?
Jota.
Again, you're probably looking at a 7 or an 8 because you got him, like you're saying, massively reduced cut fee, but he's came in injured, so you've not seen too much of him.
And what about Austin Trusty?
See, again, I've not seen too much of him. I know he's rotated between Vickers, Trusty, and Scales because of injuries. What do you rate Trusty? That's the one I'm going to put to you because I wouldn't even know.
I think Trusty's a 7.
What was that, about 3.5 or something you paid? Just shy of 5, roughly?
5, I think.
Was it as high as 5? I mean, he must
But
have.
Out of 80, that's 48 out of 80, if we were ranking that out of 10.
Right,
So,
right.
The Engels one's baffled me. That's just as bad as saying Tavernier would be a better player at right back for Celtic.
Fully stand by that.
Maybe not. The Celtic second goalkeeper as well. We'll just add him in. Don't miss him out. He's a 6.
But then, right, obviously going back a few years, but I was more talking about how, again, see Bernardo, sorry. You have done the thing that Scottish clubs do well. We done it with Kent, for example, where you get a player on loan, you can agree a fixed fee, but the negotiation between Bernardo then as well, when you brought him in, so you were divided. From what I've seen on social media, Celtic fans were quite divided whether Bernardo should get brought in or not, especially at the fee. It was.
I like Bernardo, but I don't. Obviously, not the injury thing was a joke. I think if this Sunday I had a midfield to pick, this is going to go bad as if I pure don't like Hatate, right? But see, if I had a full squad, I would go McGregor, Engels, and Bernardo. That's what I would generally go.
What, and do you think Engels would be sitting with McGregor, or would you just let McGregor sitting like the other two?
Just let McGregor. I just think there's been two, and honestly, I don't care if it happens, but watch Hatate go and have a masterclass. But I genuinely think out of maybe the past 5 Old Firms, I think 3 of them have passed by Hatate. And I just, and they're possibly actually, we'll actually go on to what we think will happen. But there's a possibility of McGregor not being able to play. He came off injured against Hibs.
Mate,
So who would you put?
I'm not buying into this because
if he can't play, are you putting McCowan in there, or are you dropping Engels into the hole?
I would drop Engels, or I'd let Hatate do the sitting. I would, or
would you maybe? Could you maybe put Greg Taylor at left back and put Schlupp in the middle?
I think that sounds like something more like what Rodgers would do. I think Rodgers potentially allows up his energy to be that kind of box-to-box player, and essentially help Engels through the game because he is still young. I think having that experience next to him would probably work. I think that would probably be the option that you would go for, but McGregor will play. I'll be amazed if McGregor's not starting on Sunday.
So what do you think will happen on Sunday? Like, if you were to go, how do you think the game goes? Let's say we go from the first 20 minutes to then the rest of the first half. What do you think there's an early goal? Do you think it's quite nothing really happens for a while? What do you think?
I think if there is an early goal, it kills the game. I think if there's an early goal for Celtic, it's going to deflate Rangers. Even with
I'll go extra bold. Obviously, people can get their bet builders on this, but gamble responsibly. Just need to get that in there. But I would genuinely say, I don't even know if you can put this on, but I genuinely think there'll be 2 or 3 goals in the first half, and whether that's I genuinely do. I think there will be a goal, but see something like with Kuhn's goal against Bayern Munich, maybe not as early as that, like 20 seconds in, but I think there will be a goal genuinely like in the first 2-3 minutes. But I'm not saying, like, it could be one of the ones that also, I know it sounds so stupid, right? But it also depends who gets kickoff.
No,
So whoever gets kickoff scores the first goal. I honestly believe that.
Do you still, again, the Celtic still do that thing where you just take kick off and just put it into the corner?
No.
No.
I remember that. I think Celtic actually won that. See, the first time they done it under Neil Lennon.
No, he's did, because I remember it was one of our pals.
Edward and Johnny Hayes scored, I'm sure.
Mate, one of our pals had a bet builder on, and it was like there would be no throw in the first 5 minutes, and there was a throw in within the first 13 seconds.
No, but if I was to put that, I think there would be 3 goals in the first half. I think if Rangers score, it will be the Czerny.
I think
Czerny.
Rangers. See, the more we spoke about this, the more I'm like giving myself a false sense of hope. I think Rangers will win 2-1 or 3-2.
Really?
I think Czerny.
Do you think Rangers has got it in them to go to Celtic Park and be on the attack enough to score 3 goals and only concede 2?
I think if they score first, Rangers need to score first. They need to try and kill the crowd as much as what they can. I think
that's a myth, but that teams that sit in against Rangers do better, because Motherwell went to Ibrox and never sat in and won 2-1.
I think it's near impossible to say the best way to play against Rangers, because the season's been so up and down. In Europe, we look better counter-attacking. In the Scottish game, there's not that same amount of space. There's a multitude of different reasons as to why Rangers are just, you can't explain them. Like I said, it's so difficult. You know, Celtic's game plan is just going to be pressing them for the start. Whether it be Maeda's on the left, up front, whatever it is, he's going to press. He's going to press straight away. He's going to pin his back. Rangers need to make sure to take the sting out of the game. Literally for the first, like you're saying, see if Rangers have kick-off, just genuinely pass the ball back. Just hold it.
You can take this thing out of the game, but with somebody, because even Kuhn doesn't track back as much, but he does press, and then Jota presses as well, and then Hatate sometimes pushes up with Engels. So do you think even taking this thing out of the game is a possibility for Rangers? There will be a period where, say, Celtic are dominant.
I think you've got to try it though, because see if Rangers try and go toe to toe with Celtic in the sense of quick free kicks, quick throw-ins, 100 miles an hour, we'll get found out straight away.
Who'll play centre back for Rangers, do you think?
Depends who's fit. I think Propper's still intensive care at this point after that.
I know I felt bad. I slaughtered the big man last week on the episode, and then that happened to him, but I don't think he's good enough for Rangers.
Mate, you are watching it, and even when he was walking off the park, I'm adamant he was convinced he was back at FC20. He had no idea where he was.
Do you think if you go through this round and say you win on Sunday, and then you also win the next Celtic Rangers game, do you think Barry Ferguson's in a shout with the job?
I do, but I don't think he should be.
I think see if you're bringing somebody else in, you can't leave him or anything like that on the staff. I think Rangers need a full refresh, and that's why I said I think Derek McInnes would be good, because one, he's not going to be an expensive manager to bring in, and that he would buy the right players to build a Rangers squad. I feel.
But
I think
his assistant, his right-hand man's obviously went and left him at the start of this season, and kind of went his own. I can't remember. I don't know if it was the Fairmont or something he went to, and now you look like Killer sitting at the table, and it's maybe the whole argument of Gerrard and Beale all over again. So I think McInnes. I think the ship's sailed. I don't think McInnes has been linked for 10 years.
Aye,
it's that way where he would probably still take it. If Rangers went to him, he would say aye. But I don't think Rangers should be looking to him. I think, especially if the takeover goes through, I'm not one of these people who, I mean, you look at the takeover that happened at Man United with the Glazers years and years ago. You look at the most recent one with Ratcliffe. You look at even kind of Newcastle. You can't just come in and just spend.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people in our heads do think that it's a wee bit tongue in cheek, but for the most part, people actually believe that the 49ers will come in and Rangers will just get a pure war chest. we've still got debt. We've still got to abide by FFP. Realistically, the best you could be looking at is if they come in, you can buy Tierney for $6 million. Like, you're not looking at we can go out and spend 20-30 million. It's still got to be where you're looking domestically. I think Lyle Cameron's going to be a good signing because you're bringing in a free. He's homegrown and he's young. Worst case, you sell him on for about 2 seasons. You're still turning a profit. And it's that cliche, he knows the league.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be looking to get Barry Ferguson because no matter, he could go unbeaten to the end of the season.
It wouldn't matter. Aye.
Nah, I don't think he's came in again.
I think it's hard for Rangers to, like, when you actually look at it, like, so the two Old Firm games in the league is one each, and the cup final was technically a draw, and Celtic won it in penalties. Is it hard for Rangers fans looking back at that and going, we've sort of messed up this league against lesser teams?
Do you know, it is, but that's the story of what it feels to be a Rangers fan over the last, I'd say, even since the COVID season. Because you look back, obviously, you go back as far as like the Julian Cup final. There's other kind of nothing springs to mind, but that one's always the one where I feel as if for the most part the Old Firms are quite close, and then you look at it and Rangers have made a mistake. In
Rangers usually, if they beat Celtic, they go and, like, I think that happened the last one. They beat Celtic, but then they drew away to Hibs. I think Rangers seem to always do that. They could go beat Celtic at Parkhead, but then they could lose at home to, like, Dundee.
But that was one as well where we were 2-0 up at Easter Road in the first 20 minutes, and then we were just going to sit in for 70 minutes against them, and it made. In you can't. It's ridiculous. You also look at last season as well. We started to call ourselves back into the kind of league contention, and then I think it was Dundee or Ross County or both of them away that we chucked it in. Mm-hmm. So for season now, we've actually, it feels as if we're competing, especially when it comes to the cups.
Yeah,
we can never seem to get over the line.
Aye, well, it'll be interesting. I look forward to seeing what happens. I do think it'll be an exciting game. So just a quick final on the Old Firm. We'll go on to the next games briefly. So just what do you think the score will be?
I'm going to go 2-1. 2-1 Rangers.
Rangers. I will go.
You going as bold as 4 or 5? Kind of bad.
I'm going 5-1 Celtic.
That's all here.
So obviously people watch this. It has been sort of Rangers Celtic dominated, but we will briefly talk about the other games this weekend. So we've got Hearts versus Ross County, which surprisingly Ross County are only 1 point behind Hearts. Where do you think? So even just looking at, so see between Hearts, Ross County and St Mirren, there's pretty much a point. Hearts is 36, Ross County's 35, and St Mirren's 34. Who do you think will get top 6? Because you've also got just St Mirren sitting in 6th on 37. Who out of the 4 teams do you think will get that last wee spot?
I think Hearts will go on. I backed Hearts as far as can I beat Aberdeen in the Cup. I think I also back Hearts to see it out to the end of the season.
I think St Mirren will get there. I just think St Mirren at all the teams. I think Ross County they have done well, but I just would be really, really shocked if they were strong enough to get the final spot, because I think 3rd, 4th and 5th are going to just be a mix-up of Hibs, Aberdeen, Dundee United. But I think it will actually be the way that it is now. I think it will go Hibs, Aberdeen and Dundee United. That's how I think it will go.
Well, here's a question, right? See, the closer we get to the Cup semi-finals, do you think the likes of Aberdeen and Hearts will risk resting players with the idea of the Cup semi-final?
No, because I think, is it not? I don't know. Was this even ever a rule, right? But see if Aberdeen or Hearts. So say Aberdeen came 7th, right, or 6th, and it means they don't get Europe. Mm-hmm. But see if they play Celtic in the final. See, even if Celtic win, does that not mean they still get Europe because Celtic are already in it?
I don't know if that's still the case. It used to be a definite no for England. It works with the FA Cup in that situation. So I think Man United got it because Chelsea bet Leicester, or Leicester bet Chelsea,
I think as a fan, you would rather win a trophy, would you not? As a fan, I would rather see my team go for a trophy than, I mean, realistically, most of the teams are going to get knocked out the qualifiers. They might get, I think, Hearts got through to the Conference League last year, but they didn't even qualify in the top 24. So I don't know, would you take getting a trophy over a possibility of 4 European games at home? I would see a trophy one.
I think you would prefer, I mean, you look at Hibs when they won the Scottish Cup, when they bet us, obviously. Rightfully so. Hibs fans still talk about that. Like, I've been in Hibs fans' houses and they've got posters, paintings, scarves, everything. Like, that was the first time they'd won that in, 90, 100 odd years.
If Hibs never got Celtic in that round there, you would have probably seen, say they avoided each other all the way to the semi-final, you would have probably seen a Celtic Hibs final, and that would have probably been a big scare for Celtic. So Hibs probably got unlucky with that. So see for Hearts Ross County, who do you think would win that? I think that's
it's
a draw.
No, Hearts. I think Hearts will win.
Right. 2-0. And so Kelly v Hibs, obviously Kelly, they're only 3 points ahead of Dundee. But at the same time, I'm talking about St Mirren getting top 6. Kelly are only 3 points above Dundee, but then St Mirren are only 3 points above Kelly. But what do you think of Kelly at Hibs? Kelly are at home. Obviously, Hibs get their first defeat off of that 15-game unbeaten run. But do you think they can get back to winning ways away to Kelly?
I think it'll be a draw.
Really? I'll mark down your predictions. So I would have said 2-1 Hibs, but what do you think that will be? 1 each, 2 each?
I think a 1 each. I think on that surface, I think when McKinnon's known that this is a run in now, and he basically needs to just hold out, I think it'll be an extremely defensive performance. If they can shut down Martin Boyle, Cadden went off injured against Celtic. If Cadden doesn't have those deliveries into the box, if you can stop Martin Boyle from getting through, I think it's a 1 each.
And then St Mirren are away to. Oh, I've not wrote it down. Who's that team Lennon Miller plays for?
Motherwell.
Thanks. Come on. Come on. What do you think of that? I think that's a draw. No?
Just St Mirren, Motherwell.
Aye, St Mirren are away, Motherwell are at home.
I think Motherwell win that.
2-1 something? 2-1.
3-1.
And then 3-1.
Aye, Andy Halliday scores.
Jesus, you can tell what team you support. And then St Johnstone v Aberdeen. I don't know why St Johnstone are just. They're actually only 3 points behind Dundee. And Dundee are in the Dundee derby.
I was looking at the league table last night, and you look down, it's like Hibs are 43, Aberdeen 42, Dundee United 41. Then there's only a 4 point gap between them and Motherwell, and then you're on your 30s all the way down to what you're saying, Dundee, they're just shy. So although obviously we are kind of trying to predict these games, there seems to be this full season that you wouldn't actually bet any sort of money on these, because anyone could beat anyone.
What do you think of that game, St Johnstone at home?
Again, they'll set up tough to beat, but you look at them against Livy last night, you know Martindale will always play a really deep block. Again, with the surface not being great there, but St Johnstone didn't look to create an awful lot. And Aberdeen, I think they'll just have enough. I think Aberdeen will win that one 2-0.
2-0? Okay. I would have said 2-1 for that, but 2-0.
I was debating one, but again, it's who's scoring for St Johnstone. Because you look at last night, as I say, it's a 35-40 yard rocket, but
I'll put your prediction for the Celtic Rangers game, and then we've got the Dundee derby. Obviously, Dundee, they're still chasing third, but I do think the way the table will go is, I think it will go Celtic, Rangers, Hibs, Aberdeen, and Dundee United. That's I think the top 6, and then St Mirren. So would you change? You would obviously take St Mirren out and put Hearts in there, but what about second, third, fourth, and fifth?
I think again, it's hard to see past Hibs. Hard to see past Hibs in third. I to be honest, I'd probably go much the same as yourself. It's going to be Celtic, Hibs, Aberdeen, Dundee United, Hearts. I think Motherwell just drop out.
Aye, I think for the bottom 7, bottom 6, sorry, I would put Hearts 7th.
Right, so that's what I'd have. Well,
So that's you with bin. I would actually put Ross County 8th. I think Motherwell drop to 9th. Kelly finishing 10th, and then Dundee and St Johnstone. That's what I would have.
it's no too dissimilar. As I said, I would have probably Motherwell, St Mirren, County Kelly, Dundee, St Johnstone.
Aye.
So
Obviously,
I think
this Sunday, obviously, like it's Derby Day, even in Dundee as well. Do you think Dundee United take that, or do you think Dundee try and get a wee shock result? Not a shock result, because in a derby, I don't believe any result in a derby is a shock. But I think Dundee United have just got too much at the minute.
I don't see Dundee winning. I see best case it's a draw. Best case for Dundee it's a draw, but it's hard to look past United.
Well, they've got a long way to travel, so that could maybe affect them. Game. So you think Dundee United win? Really? Yeah, they win.
Aye, I think Dundee United probably go on probably an R2-1.
Do you think our Rangers or Celtic should try and sign Sam Dalby? No, he's top goal scorer.
Aye, but what is he? He's 29, 30. And how much is it going to take him? Because he noticed, might be wrong, but he's not only on loan at Dundee United.
He is only on loan, but if he's on loan at that age, would Wrexham really take him? So do you know think you would take him at Rangers?
No, I think Rangers they now need to be long-term planning with an idea, obviously short-term in the sense of players in a kind of mid-20s. I don't think going for Dalby still have Dessers, Egerman. Shankland's still available on a free contract. I know Shankland's in his 30s, but I would take Shankland over Dalby. Shankland proved it over multiple seasons, and he can get a little bit deeper. Whereas Dalby's, I mean, you look at Kevin Van Veen, like you get these players that come in at the kind of smaller teams that will have an incredible season and then just kind of fade into nothing.
You get that. You do. You get a lot of players like that who just they are sort of one season wonders. But I was just usually if Rangers or Celtic are going to sign somebody like that, you hear about it by now.
Aye, definitely.
Nothing's really came. But just quickly, if I have to work this out, with your predictions, that would move. Motherwell would stay where they are. Hearts would stay where they are. So would Kelly. And then if you had Aberdeen to beat St Johnstone, that would put them above Hibs. So you would have Hibs dropping to 4th. And then you would also have Dundee United moving above Hibs. So Hibs would move down to 5th, and you would have Aberdeen 3rd and Dundee United 4th. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. But that's us, mate. So thanks very much for coming on. I hope you enjoyed it.
No, I appreciate you having us on, and hopefully that when this all gets released, we don't get too much abuse for either of our takes.
Yeah, I'm not worried at all, man, with your takes. I've actually marked them down. I'm going to put them up on my wall for the rest of my life, I'll tell you that. But thanks very much for coming on, and I hope for you watching or listening on Spotify as well. I hope you all enjoy. Don't be afraid to leave a wee like or comment and subscribe. And thanks everybody for watching, and enjoy your weekend. Cheers.